A review copy was provided. Hello everyone, Adam here, and in this short impressions video, if you want the full detailed review, as always it's in the link below. I'm talking about No Straight Roads, and I really love this game. In fact, it's one of my favorite games of this year. It's such a creative and imaginative title with incredible boss fights and fantastic music. In fact, like I stated, it's one of my favorite games of this year. Yes, it's short and a bit expensive. It's about $35 right now at a discount, but the full retail price is $40. But I had such an incredible time playing this title, I actually went and purchased the PC copy to see the game at its best quality, and it was well worth it. So the story here is that Mayday and Zook are musicians in a band called Bunk Bed Junction. They want to bring rock back to the city of Vinyl City, but after their performance, rock is outlawed by the leaders known as NSR and claim that EDM is the only music allowed in the city. Music not only serves as a form of entertainment and creative output, but it is also used to generate power for the city. Despite this, the city experiences rolling blackouts, and when Mayday and Zook witness that NSR is only providing backup energy to the elite, they decide it's time for a music revolution, where rock is not outlawed and power is evenly distributed among the people of the city. To accomplish this, Mayday and Zook must defeat NSR key members and take over districts one at a time. Mayday and Zook are excellent protagonists. Mayday serves as a more direct and aggressive member, whereas Zook is more calmer and more methodical in how he approaches things. Mayday is a guitarist and serves as the party's heavy hitter, whereas Zook is more defensive in his tactics and drumming. They play off so incredible that I actually love the dynamic here. It's almost like you've known these characters for years, the way they just complement and they're so charismatic. Both are playable, either alone in single player where you can switch between the two, or in cooperative play, but only locally. There is no online play. The gameplay is mostly beat 'em up action with minor platforming sections. You have to overcome these series of platforming and combat challenges against minor foes who really lack variety, but they help build up to the anticipation of facing the real meat of this game, which comes from the masterfully crafted boss fights that each have distinct musical themes and multiple phases that are complemented with incredible musical scores that bolster the action. I did wish the trailers leading up to this game's release didn't reveal these fights, so if you didn't watch the trailers, don't go watch them because you'll ruin the entire game. Well, not the entire game, but the anticipation of seeing how these bosses will fight is kind of lost because of those trailers. But after playing the game, it kind of made sense why they did this. No Straight Roads, like I said, is short. The game is about 5 hours with little optional content. You can repeat boss fights with increased difficulty for better unlocks and gain more fans, which serve as the game's experience system to unlock new upgrades for Mayday and Zook. You can further upgrade the duo with temporary upgrades in the form of stickers and permanent mods that add new abilities. There's also an ultimate ability that both Mayday and Zook can execute once the power meter is filled. It's a fun combat system, and the developers attempted to add more variety with specific minigames linked to specific boss fights or platforming challenges. The hub of Vinyl City is beautiful, with a lot of variety in terms of cosmetic look. The city itself is, however, lacking in substance. There's no optional missions and very little people to talk to. You can collect batteries to restart power to certain objects around the city for a boost in fans, but it's strange that these batteries are everywhere and no one's just collecting them and restarting power, but that's really it. The city does change as you progress, and seeing the districts controlled by various bosses is wonderful to explore for a small bit as you see them shift from their original design to a more Bunk Bed Junction type of focus. I don't want really to spoil it, but revisiting these areas after you progress through the game is kind of exciting, but again, it's very limited in scope, which I can understand. This is developed by a small team. It's not a big AAA project. At most, I would call it a AA project. But the game's overall world does provide more context into Mayday and Zook's views on art and the city. Speaking of Mayday and Zook, they're amazing, and like I said, they play off each other so well, with Mayday's direct approach and Zook remaining constantly mellow. When they do break these personas, it's during more profound moments within the story, and surprisingly, the story does infuse both comedy and serious moments into properly choreographed situations. It never feels out of place when dealing with these problems, such as personal bonds, beliefs, and how they once acted in the past. What I found incredibly consistently great was the game's animation. Every character is wonderfully detailed and expressive. The voice actors did an amazing job bringing the characters to life, and the animators ensured that every character looked exactly what they were expressing, which is likely why the game is so expensive because of this. Yeah, the in-game cutscenes are just portraits of people talking to one another, but the cutscenes themselves are of incredible quality when they showcase the 3D models. You can look at the characters' faces and tell what they're feeling, and the voice actors, of course, complement the scenes with fit-in voice dialogue. Despite being only 5 hours and having little replayability, I found No Straight Roads to be worth the asking price. Like I said, I went and purchased a PC copy even though I got a review copy. It was a fun and enriching adventure with so many positives. I felt it fulfilled what it set out to do despite the lack of content. The only real major annoyance I had was the long load times, which can take up to 25 seconds to load on a PlayStation 4 Pro, but they are much quicker on the PC. Regardless, this is one of my favorite games of 2020, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for something a bit more different in terms of the video game landscape. If you've been playing video games as long as I have, I've been playing for over 20 years, having something this beautiful, inventive, and different is an extreme rarity, and I want to see developers like this be compensated and rewarded for trying something different. And I really hope we see more of Mayday and Zook. Even though the story ends on a high note and is a closed loop, I wouldn't mind seeing the two return in a future game. Either way, this has my highest recommendations and I hope you'll support it. So if you like No Straight Roads or that you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a comment, and consider subscribing. Till next time everyone, stay awesome.